Now, I was telling you a moment ago in the news hub about the archaeological find at Rathfarnham Castle in Dublin, and reaching back into the history of that part of the world, great things being found. But I have a man with me again this morning, Raymond McCabe, who reaches far back into the trading history of Newry. You're the fifth generation, of course.
I'm running, yeah.
And you're kind of proud of that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What sort of man was Johnny McCabe, the man who started the whole thing? Your grandfather.
My grandfather, small, low set.
Yeah.
Much smaller than myself.
He was a tough man.
Tough
he
little
was
guy.
as broad. I remember him almost being as broad as he was tall. He was a tough man.
Yeah, bib and braces.
Bib and braces.
Polishing away, doing the things.
Yeah.
As a child, I always remember him actually doing the horses.
Doing the horses.
Setting the shop up in the morning, and then the paper would come out in the pencil.
And he'd be marking up the horses.
And quads and accumulators and these unusual bets. And I think he was a very fair man, because people keep coming into the shop and telling me about certain things that happened over the years.
He had qualities.
Yeah, there was a trust.
There was.
There was a big trust.
It was the way it used to be, and the people would have gone to Mick McAvoy, the chemist, at the top of the street.
Yeah, indeed.
Jack Daly was at the other side of the
Paperman,
corner. Jack Daly was a chemist as well, who did wallpaper and paint and pet mice. He had a pet shop as well. And then there was Oney Riley in the... He was there. He was kind of in opposition to you in the sense that he had bric-a-brac of early sort of
They did, but they all seem, what I hear is they all seem to work with each other. I know there might have been a competition, but they were all rearing families on the one street. And they all looked after each other's interests.
Absolutely. It used to be, my people in Mary Street were dreadfully stuck up.
Of course.
The Carrolls and the Fullertons and the O'Hares and the Han, dreadfully stuck up. And they used to think that when Louis Boyd came on the scene, that no, that would never do. They would go around to J.V. Kelly. Right. J.V. Kelly was where you got the herringbone overcoats and things like that. But sure, they didn't know that when J.V. went long or went short and needed something, Louis would supply. And when Louis needed something else, sure, of course, it was the way it was. And then round the back you had John the Pawn. There was there the shop. The pawn, remember the three balls hanging over the street? The pawn shop. Oh my goodness! I must give you a book.
I can remember the two Mrs. Tumbledies.
And the wee sweetie shop.
Two half doors.
Two half doors, and you went in. The suites were on the right hand side. This was a tiny place, the size small, as big as your bathroom at home. And on the right hand side you had the suites. Yes. The left hand side you had the vegetables.
Correct. Yeah.
Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then Fernenst, the counter at the back wall, was the door into the kitchen.
Fernenst. That's the South Armagh term. Fernenst. In front of you.
In front of me.
Yeah, very good.
You see, he's correcting me. See, I'm in the vernacular. I have a cold. Yeah, you had a cold last week.
I had a cold last week, yeah. I think it's
all I did last week was
to
run an archival piece on you.
Oh, very good.
And all out there, watch your children, because children are picking up this cold at the moment.
Very much so.
And very severe and very, very problematic.
But like the weather is, what a beautiful morning.
Absolutely. So what a beautiful morning. Right. Oh, what a beautiful... Do you believe in Halloween? Is this the time of the liminal space between the living and the dead being at its closest? Or is it all a lot of nonsense?
Bit of fun, isn't it?
It's a bit of fun.
Bit of fun.
But that's the way we want to keep it. Old people, tricking and treating can frighten old people.
Well, if it gets out of hand, it can do. But if it's done in a nice family-oriented business as such, it's good. Yeah. And funny, all the schools are off this week, all really getting geared up for it.
Imagine preparing for Halloween.
Preparing for Halloween. It's a real American event now.
It is, it's become that way. It is, of course, the time when the area between the next world and this world, the veil, is supposed to be at its. I'm going to. It's most. Fine.
Well, for us, it was an apple hanging from a string, or an apple and water.
And you would have got that.
And that was it.
If you'd been lucky, you would have had a nice girl there with you.
Oh.
And she'd been kneeling at one side, and you'd be there. Yeah. And we're only children, but it was an apprenticeship that I valued. Yeah. And we would go to get the apple, and the apple would be jammed between the two sets of teeth. Right. And if you were fortunate, and you could maneuver the circumstance, the apple would skite away and...
Lady and the Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp. And then in Mary Street, That's right. It was good. So listen to me. People go to buy. I am enthralled by the people who go to buy settees nowadays. And you go in and you buy it and you pay your money. And we promise to get it to you for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
How do people... like when I went to buy my South African leather settee from you, that was the first ever South African leather settee that I bought. And I saved up for it. No, I'm telling a lie. Brendan in the credit union gave me the money for it.
Right.
And I paid him off over about 2 years. It was the most lovely settee, absolutely lovely settee. And I was able to look at it, smell it, sit in it, feel the weight of it, look at the bits of it, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But how does somebody go in and see a replica of what they're going to get? I couldn't buy that way. It's not a nice way of doing it.
Some of the shops, the bigger multiples, do it that way. We call it nailed to the floor.
Yeah.
It's different with hard furniture, but I take on board what you're saying about upholstered furniture.
Yeah.
They come in, they say it. Now, beds would be different, Ronan, because you'd want to come in.
You call me Ronan.
What?
Why are you calling me Ronan?
Ronan.
He's calling me Ronan.
Ronan.
How am I going to kill him? We know each other well enough for me to say that to him. But beds, why would beds be different?
Because you're not like a showroom, you're going to put your 20 beds on the floor.
Yeah.
You're going to come in, see a bed, measure it to suit you, and then order for you what you specifically want.
Yeah.
A sofa, I know what you're saying. If you see the grain on the leather suite,
Oh, sure, it's
and you
what
like
buy.
the grain, or
You
the
love
patina.
that. Yeah. The
And
patina.
The patina.
Yeah.
And also tabletops. You get, you might get 10, but you might like the 11th.
Yes,
with the
because
certain
it's the grain.
The grain.
But the patina, you say, should you be selling antimacassars with your South African?
Antimacassars. Who's she?
Do you not know what an antimacassar is? I don't believe this morning. I am very, very old.
Right.
An antimacassar.
Yeah.
Now, the gentlemen in the years gone by used a hairdressing that was called macassar.
Okay.
Now, in the fine homes of the land, mine of course being one of them, we had linen cloths, very often crocheted, that would sit on the back of the settee, and that was there. So when you put your head back, it wouldn't go. The macassar wouldn't go onto the onto the leather, but would go onto the cloth. So therefore, you had an anti-macassar. Did you not know that?
No, but I do remember old aunts' houses and the little on the arms and on the back to save the sofa.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got a clock from you once, a long time ago, and it was there forever and ever and ever. And these were clocks, it was a second-hand clock, and some of them were sent back from America.
Gingerbread, was it?
It may have been. Tell us about that.
Gingerbread clock were a mass-produced clock.
In America?
In America.
They were, as I recall, about that size.
Yeah.
And the big bung, bung. And there were 3 glass panels in the front.
Some of them were. Was this a wall-mounted one?
It was wall-mounted.
Hanging clock. Some of them were table lamps or sideboard.
This was a full-size.
Clocks. There was a casing, normally hexagonal.
Yes, hexagonal. Yes, yes.
And there was a press moulding.
Yes.
Where a machine would imprint a carving on it.
Yes.
And they were mass-produced, and they ended up here, wind-up movement.
Yeah, and people who went to America from Ireland would have bought them as a present.
Possibly so,
to send home, or indeed bring them home in their trunk.
Yeah, I don't know where the name gingerbread came from. Maybe the shape of the clock.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah. Once upon a time, ruby glass was very, very popular.
Oh, very popular.
Now, what is the origin of the ruby glass, and why was it so popular? They were associated with big houses, I think.
It was. Funny, I can remember my father saying, we have an aunt in Tipperary town.
Yes.
My aunt Brady Kingston.
Is that where Brady is?
Brady's in Tipperary.
Brady McCabe.
And my father and his father went down to visit with some furniture one time, and they bought, I think it was something like 200 lamps.
Wow.
50 or 60 of them ruby and so on. And they'd no blankets or wrapping to take them home, so got a few bales of hay in the truck, and they all came home safe. And they were being sold for £1 a piece.
My goodness.
For ruby lamps. I don't know why it was taken out. Was it like amber? Was it a nicer colour, a warmer colour to a Victorian house? Like us changing the colour of our bulb today?
Yeah.
They had a naked flame.
Yeah.
And they used the ruby for warmth.
I have to say, the oil lamp. And I used to be able to go into you and buy a proper oil lamp. And then the next thing happened was you couldn't buy paraffin for it.
Correct.
You had to buy something called lamp oil.
Right.
And lamp oil cost maybe $20 a fill, whereas paraffin you got a year's supply for a $5. You know, it all seemed to move away from that. But can you still get involved in the lamps and the things like that?
Well, they're all electrified. No,
they're all electrified now.
There probably are some companies still doing oil lamps. The problem is, you say, where do you get the fuel? It used to be in Francis Street.
Gavigan's would have done it,
and
when he Gallagher's in Hill Street. And the Gavigan thing, I remember. I always remember Gavigan's. Would you remember Gavigan's and the Corpus Christi procession?
No.
When it came down Francis Street from the Dominican on its way through Newry, Gavigan's would put a May altar, a Corpus Christi altar, not a May altar, a Corpus Christi altar, on the front at the street. And if you went through Gavigan's, Mr. and Mrs. Gavigan, out the back, among the vegetables that they grew beside the railway there, that went across Francis Street, they would have, they had a little grotto there. Right. The statue of Our Lady in the grotto, life-size. Yeah. And they took great pride in that. And that was another iconic shop of Newry.
Probably all whitewash walls.
Whitewash walls, now you got it. Yeah. But when I'm buying a settee, I'm not going to buy another one.
Right, okay.
Because I'll not need another one for a long time. I could even be laid out on this one. It's so big. Right. It's lovely. What should I be looking out for? But it needs to be. Now, this wouldn't be a good settee because it's not properly shaped. That's not a good settee over there because you sink away down into it. What's the secret?
It's down to price. See, these are bought at a price.
Yeah.
For instance, if this was valued at £100, this is PVC.
Yeah, you would recognise this as PVC.
Yeah, even to touch it's
not
sweaty
a
of
good,
itself.
it's not a nice...
In leather, it could be 3 times the price. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of our furniture is being produced in Asia.
Yeah.
But I think that will come back again slowly. It could take 5 or 10 years, but we'll start producing furniture back here in Ireland and England again.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why? But surely Asia is attractive because it's cheap.
It is, but Asia's actually supplying its own market now, and its own market is vast. Yeah. There's a big wealth out there.
The wealthy Chinese.
And they want it for themselves. They supply a lot into America and a lot into Russia.
Yeah. But I mean, can we? But surely the goodness...
And also price.
Yeah, but surely the skills have gone. Look at the recent contract in Belfast when Harland and Wolff was required to do an oil rig, and they had to send out and advertise across Europe to get welders. You know, will the old skills have gone, Raymond?
Possibly. Like, you know, we even have a problem trying to get sewers. Like, if we do a bit of upholstery with a nice piece of piping.
Yes. Who would sew it for
There's
you?
nobody under, I might be wrong saying this, but 56-year-old, there's nobody under that taking up sewing.
Yeah, and there's no course for... Brian, you tell me if I'm wrong here and I will talk about it forever. But there's no sewing course over there at the Southern College.
They probably say is there a need for it. I don't know. It's something maybe you were taught at home years ago or at school. But there's a lot of... You're right in what you're saying. There's a lot of little dying trades.
Yeah. I went into McAvoy's, lovely shop, haberdashery, great shop. And I said to the girl, I said, young woman, may I have some darning wool and darning needles? She looked at me as though I had 2 heads. Yeah. It was dreadful. She didn't know what I was talking about, you know. I said, well, would you have a darning mushroom? Yeah. Hadn't a clue. But I would still darn my socks.
There used to be a little shop in Canal Street, Sew and Knit.
Sew and Knit, and that was run by Mr. O'Hagan and his wife.
Yeah.
He died, the gentleman died.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. So what's hot at the moment in the retail area coming up to Christmas?
Probably we're coming into tables and chairs. Big thing. People are thinking Christmas. They want a table, set of chairs for the Christmas meal and so on. I would advise anybody who's buying one anywhere, of course, come to us first. But
yeah, absolutely.
Try to get the biggest size table at your room. A lot of people buy a table and think that'll do, and they come back in 4 years. Should have bought a bigger one.
Yeah.
Should have bought a bigger one.
Yeah.
And buy, of course, what suits you. Try and buy solid timber that, if it does get a mark, it can be repaired.
Yeah. I once, having a big table, you can put her her ladyship at the far end, and you're here.
Yeah.
So if there's any kind of angularity in the air, you're well removed from it.
And you want it well polished.
Oh yes,
for sliding.
Sliding things too. Yes, writing. My darling, how are you? I was going to get a table. I have a silly table. I have an 8-foot table that's a glass top on a metal frame, and it looks like crap. It's dreadful. But what I want is a table that's got a farmhouse top on it, wooden top. You haven't got that.
Of course I have.
Have you?
Of course.
In Carlingford?
Possibly.
We've talked about this before. It has to be farmhouse.
Of course.
Because I want to scrub it. I want to see the deep
you want
cracks on it.
the bleach top?
I want the bleach top. But you could do that
of course,
too.
Of course.
Goodness gracious. What about any longer? What was the stuff you used to get? It was like plastic. It was all the go in the 60s. Bakelite, or what was it called? I can't remember.
Was it the go-over table?
Aye, where you stuck it onto a table.
Oh, melamine board.
Aye, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
that was the stuff. I'm very grateful to you coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking us along the corridors of our past.
Indeed.
Into places that we do not often go.
No.
And we wish you well.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Take
care.
Thank you.
Take care. Coming shortly, Barry Traynor, and we're talking to Barry about Jennings Park.
So, you want local Newry and Mourne TV shows on your television? Which video box should you buy? Well, you have two options. Option 1 provides you as long as you have a good internet connection in your home with all the programmes from destinationnewry.com, including
inside the fencing when we were up there. That's such a change. And the dog muck.
Destination Newry. Radio evolved.
Hello, your weather for today and tomorrow with Destination Newry today.
First, this is Newry News Bite.
Well, what's crack in Newry and Mourne today? We all had a great September weather-wise.
We're going to go straight into today's show with a lively set of tunes from a band called
Well, good morning. Welcome to Destination Newry.
Tell me the provenance of that. Where did it come from?
Right there, and welcome back to the studio.
Good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest is... Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Newry's Loose Women with me.
Well, it's hello and welcome once again to the programme. My name is Tommy Sands.
And the ports of the house of our God. Praise the Lord.
Philip Rogan, rather, wearing number 19.
Evening, everybody, and you're very welcome to Newry Showgrounds tonight again.
So that's option 1, and to choose this, click on option 1 below, or you can go to vario.ie and buy option 1. Option 2 provides you, as long as you have a good internet connection in your home, everything you get for option 1, including all the programmes from destinationnewry.com. Plus, you will be able to add over 1,000 private or public channels at the touch of a button, most of which are free. So that's option 2. To buy, click below and buy option 2, or go to vario.ie and buy option 2. To choose your option, either option 1 or 2, just click on the buttons below, or you can go to vario.ie and click on option 1 or 2. When we receive your payment, we will deliver your box to your home, and